Yeah.
Got your sexy side on?
Got my sexy looky hat on that my granddaughters gave me for Christmas. Look who showed up at my house today.
Hey YouTube, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Guess who I'm with?
Brother Otis.
Brother Otis. Yeah, except this time I'm on his end.
Yeah.
And the journey down to Georgia, and had the opportunity to spend a couple hours together today. And you know what that means. Sitting down and picking each other's brain and sharing some thoughts, catching up, and talking faith and preparedness. And we wanted to share some of that with you. Brother Otis even cleaned up, trimmed his beard.
Yep. My springtime haircut.
I almost didn't recognize him when he walked up to the door, but brother, it's good to see you.
Always.
Always. So a couple things that we've kind of been talking about that we wanted to share with you all because it impacts you, and if it doesn't, it's going to at some point. And that is prepping and aging, doing preparedness as we
grow older.
And I'm roughly 10 years senior to this young lad.
Yeah.
And but both of us over the last year, we've both been having our own physical struggles that's impacting
life in general, not just our preparedness journey or homesteading or whatever you want to call it. It's impacting just life.
Yeah.
It's
functioning daily.
Yeah, it's impacted me at work. It's impacted my personal life. Getting old is not for wimps.
Yeah, it's the golden years, literally.
Yeah.
So we wanted to share some of this with you, and as we've been talking about it, and then again this morning we've been talking about us individually and family members, and in your original planning for whether you're bugging in or bugging out, you may have built plans on who was part of your package.
Exactly. Your group, your family, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yep.
So you have to make preparations ahead of time for everyone at every age, at every level of preparedness that's in your family or your group that may end up with you, even if it's not a bad situation, even if it's just, vacationing or life, you have to think about all that in everything you do. This past year, it's really impacted me and my wife on a personal level, and we both had some challenges. We had big plans for stuff we wanted to do this year, and it's just not happening the way we wanted to do it. and we're really trying to focus now on getting as healthy as we can. And we both hit some age marks, I guess, that are big, and it's different than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We're having to work a whole lot smarter instead of harder because we just can't do it.
Well, when, 10 years ago, when you're talking about planning and having, example, alternate power sources, you're talking about alternate power sources, solar generators, whatever it may be. You're talking about these things for refrigerators, freezers, and so forth. But now, as we've aged, and family members that are aging that may be part of your plans, or maybe they weren't and they are now, you're talking about extra power sources for oxygen,
Yep.
CPAP machines, refrigeration for diabetic medicines,
My
things
my
of that
mother
nature.
just had to go on permanent oxygen, and we're having to incorporate that into our plan for her solar generators.
Yeah.
Or solar generators for her oxygen generator, excuse me, and dedicated power for that.
Yeah.
Well, we had to do some repurposing, but I mean, we're making it work. But that's not something we thought about 10 years ago.
Yeah. And with these changes and this additional equipment that you now must have, then you've also got to plan on, let's say, if circumstances changed and you had to bug out.
Yeah, how are you going to do that
with that equipment?
Yeah.
You were going to pack ABC in this space before, and now you may be packing a walker,
a walker, a wheelchair, a cane, whatever.
Solar power for the accessories needed for day-to-day life functions.
We've had to make sure that there's always a spare oxygen bottle
Yeah.
in the car in case she has a little portable generator, but what if the battery goes dead? You got to have that spare bottle just so you can get to a point where you can charge. And I'm here to tell you, you always, while you have the opportunity now, troubleshoot. We went through 3 portable generators before we found one that was operational. And these were all being supplied through healthcare, but it took 3 to find one that wasn't defective. And it takes 2 weeks for each one. You order it. It takes a week to get the order. Then it takes a week to get it. Then you try it. It doesn't work. Then you got to start over. You got to do that kind of stuff now while you have the resource.
When you talk about that, you're going to have a rally point that may be at home X.
Yeah.
Right, and you're going to have multiple people or family members coming to that location.
Yeah.
If you have a family member that is dependent on care from another family member, that's going to be in your living space. Were you previously planning to have 2 individuals, one that's now physically unable, and the second person who now has to care for the other individual?
You're just taking 2 people out of
You're taking 2 out of your rotation, whether it's gardening or armament or cook or medicinal, whatever it may be. And none of this is knocking any of
it's
to be
just
negative.
You have to make preparations for it now.
Thinking.
You have to think outside the box and make preps ahead of time, because those people, even if you have challenges, you're still very, very useful. One of the people in our group has some big physical challenges, but mentally, dude is sharp. He is telling me how to do all this construction that I personally don't know how to do. And I'm having to modify how I do it just because of some injuries from, previous lifestyle. And I have 3 spinal injuries, and I'm having to adapt with those. But with his knowledge, he's helping me to be able to still do things, and I'm just having to modify how I do them.
You may or may not remember, but a few years ago when we first started the Hope for Survival Zoom calls. We were doing them weekly for probably 2 years. Every week we had a meeting. And the whole point of that was to teach preparedness virtually and draw skills out of those who were
The groups,
attending.
yeah.
And one of the whole points was, we're living in a technological world now, but we have a lot of retired nurses that worked in the 60s and 70s.
Who could do stuff without that?
Yeah. Before we had this piece of equipment, tell us
How did we do it?
how would you do this, right? And learning these skills, so hopefully you can transition it into those who were attending. I think that's one of the biggest shortfalls in the preparedness arena is that
relying too much.
So much reliability is on technology.
Yeah.
Right? Need batteries, got to recharge this, need cables, need cords, it'll work for 12 hours. Is that it's like no one is tapping into the
How did we do it
65, 70-year-old skilled. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we have such an extensive paper library.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's got a lot of old books.
Yeah.
We go to a lot of flea markets, garage sales, Goodwill stores, and we look for those older books. And you'd be surprised at what you can still get out of that, and it's usually pretty cheap. And it tells you how to do it before we had all this technology.
Yeah.
Technology is a great thing when you have it, but may not always have it.
Well, and right now is flea market. Well, most of them go year round, but yard sales.
Yeah, well, it's spring and summer.
Now is the time that homes and communities.
Yeah, because they're cleaning up,
Yeah. So when you go, I know that you guys go to a lot of these.
Yeah, we go to a lot of. We'll get on Craigslist and we'll look for what's in our local community for garage sales. And I love flea markets everywhere I go. I look for a good.
I know you bought a lot because you
stuff.
showed it to me.
Well, yeah, but I buy a lot of good used equipment. I have all kinds of farming stuff, gardening stuff, backpacking and camping stuff.
Tools.
All kinds of tools. I'm a mechanic by trade, so I have a lot of tools already, but farming tools and gardening tools. You can find some tactical stuff at good deals. There's a local page that's similar to eBay and Craigslist together, and I look on it a lot, and I found an awesome deal on shotgun shells the other day. Real cheap. Just this past 2 weeks ago, we took the granddaughters and went to a flea market that was local, and I got me a 3-pack of Duracell flashlights with rechargeable USB batteries, and it came with its own AAA batteries. I got the whole set because it was missing one. I got the full set of 3 for $20. These are 1200 lumen. I don't want to blind you there, but it works great. They're rechargeable. Got the whole kit, $20 for 3 of them. You don't believe it? There's all 3, and then here's one of the chargers. So you'd be surprised what you can pick up.
It's a nice weight as well.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's got zoom in and out. It's a good flashlight. And they were new. I bought bought a tactical vest that day. I bought a 200-foot spool rope that day, dirt cheap. We bought some, because it's spring, we're trying to upgrade some of our perennial gardening because we are getting older. I can't take time and effort to plant every year. So we're trying to be smarter, and we planted 20 trees that are, fruit-bearing trees. I had to use my tractor and my auger. Not everybody has one of those, but, I happen to have one, and I use that to dig the holes instead of a shovel because it was easier on me physically. Working smarter, not necessarily harder.
I bought a portable auger, handheld.
I think Harbor Freight sells one. Shameless plug for her.
30 pounds,
Yeah.
40 pounds max. Electric. Well, how am I going to use an electric one way out there? Well, I'm going to put my solar generator on the tailgate of my truck.
And drive it to
And
you.
we'll drive it out there, plug the power cord in, and recently put in new fence posts around the garden.
Yeah, keep the deer out.
And I was teaching a class actually the day they were put in, and my brother-in-law and niece's husband, I geared him up with this portable auger that was, I think it was like $150 maybe, but 20 years ago I wouldn't have bought it.
No, because you would just use some post hole diggers.
Yeah, but now.
And I still have post hole diggers. Hopefully somebody in my group or my family can use those if need be.
Yeah, but it's like, going to have a couple surgeries coming up on neck and hip, but going to a chiropractor, my chiropractor for the last year or so has kept me functioning, right?
And
why am I going to sit and do post hole diggers
when you can use an
and
auger?
jack up
Yeah.
what the chiropractor is doing to keep me functioning?
But you're still functioning, and that helps by still doing something.
And
staying
the auger,
active.
if you use it smart, right? Because it will get out of control, and
it can mess you
it
up
will
if you're not
mess you
careful.
up,
So be smart.
but it's so much less labor intensive to use.
Use it properly.
Talking about yard sales and garage sales, as a person that's into preparedness or a prepper, one of the things that I really like about going to yard sales and garage sales, it is a free opportunity to go on the property and meet
Other people.
who lives in the house and other people that might be from your community, see what type items they're selling, which often tells you a lot about
The people themselves.
what's on the shelves in the garage that maybe they're not selling, but the mindset of who lives there, stickers that might be on bumpers on their cars, of which way they may go politically. It's giving you tidbits of information that will really, really help you start an assessment as to you can visibly see these nonverbals and decide
That is one of the
shake
things
their hands.
that Brother B has really taught me in our journey is you're always assessing and evaluating.
Yeah.
Every single thing you do. And it's not a burden.
No.
We make it a game.
It's
Me and my wife make it a game. Everywhere we go, we assess and evaluate what's going on around us, and we have fun with it. One of our favorite games is pick out who's concealed carrying. We do that everywhere we go, and we get points. So it's so much fun.
I can't remember if it was last summer or summer before. I think the summer before, we had about 15 to 20 Hope for Survival folks at our house. Festus came down, and you guys were there, and Herbie Chick, and
there were several people from the neighborhood, and we had a meal. And
yeah, but what's funny is I was kind of quiet.
He was doing an experiment on us while we were having a meal.
And his wife, Sister Otis, she said, so what is the point of all this today? And Brother Otis here smiled and said, because he's assessing.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it the whole time.
Who gets along together, other than the enjoyment of being together with everyone.
Yeah.
But it was seeing,
because we were all
multiple
different
personalities.
Yeah, we were all different personalities.
How well would they blend?
Yeah.
And
when put together in an environment. And we did fine.
Assessing is priceless.
It is always.
Because
it doesn't take any physical effort.
Yeah.
It's all mental.
Throw a topic out, just start a conversation on a topic,
see where it goes.
And see all the different types of responses you get from maybe a rural personality to an urban personality to a
difference.
senior citizen
Yeah.
to someone who's younger, male to female, someone that is further down the preparedness line than someone who's
Beginner versus
beginner,
you know.
and just listen to what you can learn. Because I typically don't like to ask anyone for anything. That's just, I've always been that way. But in the last year, especially with Hurricane Helene, is picking the phone out and reaching out to a couple people that were in the area to do Hurricane Helene errands, drive trucks, pick up stuff, and so forth. Right? Had I not spent time, they were at that dinner. Had I not spent time with these folks to assess
What their reaction would be,
the comfort level, I would have never called.
Yeah, because you didn't want to waste your time because you had a lot going on.
But it's important that you do these things in your own preparedness and your own community, and a yard sale is a free opportunity
You get access to things you normally wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean
You can look in their garage.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
talk to them. You can look at their stuff.
I mean, if there's like 5 hand tools that's laying there, and the wife or female is in the garage overseeing, and they're basic tools, and you ask her, well, what are these? You may already know, but ask what
see
are
if
these?
she does.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got divorced and I'm selling all my husband's stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you just got more information.
Yeah.
So we just replaced all that with this new electronic stuff.
Yeah. So she's selling off all the tools, right? Which could open another leading question. Well, are you planning on staying here? Is the home going to be for sale?
Are you not going to need these anymore, and why?
You may have
just nonchalant conversation.
Yeah, because I keep a list for my neighborhood.
But who does what?
It's evergreen. It is constantly being worked, being adjusted.
Because
new people coming in.
Yeah,
changes in
everything
homes.
changes.
Yeah. If someone's down with an injury for say 3 months, put a yellow highlight on that home that they're going to need attention.
They may need assistance for this, but now they can't do this, so I got to fill that spot with so and so.
Yeah.
One of the big things I've learned, and I've learned this from work, on your physical abilities. I played real rough and hard, and I worked real rough and hard, and I have gotten injured. And one of the big things they've taught us at work is 3 points of contact. Always either have both hands or 1 foot or 2 feet and 1 hand on whatever you're doing. Because I have fallen so many times. I've fallen off trailers, I've fallen off 18-wheelers, I've fallen off trucks. And that's where a lot of my injuries have come from. And you got to learn, just like I've had quite a few 4-wheeler injuries. You got to be smart. Learn, know when to stop acting so wild.
Especially as you age.
Yes. Because
it's longer to heal.
It takes forever to
rehab. And depending how old you are, you may live alone.
Yeah.
So now you are dependent upon therapy or someone coming to your house to help get you to the store, get you to doctor's appointments. And again, these aren't criticisms, they're not bad.
No, you just have to make plans ahead of time of how you're going to accomplish that. And you can do it. If you have a plan, you can do it.
Yeah, it's that thinking outside the box, left
you gotta
bang.
Write your stuff down, make a plan.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's some really good how-to in this stuff right here. Really good on how to do things. Shameless plug.
How many copies of that book have you bought?
I have no earthly idea. I give these out to so many people. Just this past winter, I bought 10 more copies while I was up at somebody's house and gave them away. I give them away to all kinds of people, and I tell them, if you like it, keep it. If you don't, give it back. That way I can give it to somebody else.
I think you and Brother Bennett hold the record for the most copies.
Most copies purchased.
Yeah. Both from Georgia.
Yes, both from Georgia, and nothing. There are no all profits proceeds from these go to benefit the food bank in his local community. So
at the church.
Brother B takes no profits. Period. Shameless plug.
Yeah. There's
all kinds of resources that you can use.
I get it that a lot of people these days, they don't want to read. They don't want to read. I love to read. Read every day.
I love the feel of a book.
Yeah, and they would rather listen to podcasts while they're prepping.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that too and learn.
Yeah.
It's all personal preference, but do something.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's, we've talked about this, I don't know how many times till we're blue in the face, that there's still folks out there who think that they're prepping because
they're talking about it, but they're not actually doing it.
Right. They're either watching prepper podcasts, they're watching.
And that's great. Implement it.
Learn from it and go do it.
Yes, implement it.
Yeah.
Typically I go to a lot of preparedness events. This year, because of health challenges, I have not gotten to go to one yet. Last year, it was like everyone we went to had something to do with a real big push on home-based medical. Mm-hmm. Now's a really good time to be getting your herbs in the ground. And one of the shows we went to last year had what was called a tactical food forest. It taught you how to use your land for tactical purposes, including making those purposes where they would water and help hide your resources, your herbs, your fruit trees, your grapes, and then you would use larger trees for nuts and for shade to help nourish the stuff that you were growing. And now is the time to do that. And you can start off with small stuff. It don't take a very big shovel to put your herbs in the ground. We're hiding ours in our flower gardens that are in front of the house, decorative. And that way it's really close to the house. You can go harvest it if necessary. You don't leave the cover very much of the house. And preparing your tinctures that take time to develop, we're working on that like crazy. You have to implement, and those things don't require a lot of physical effort. You just got to do it.
And with what you just said, again, if you get out and go meet your neighbors,
exactly,
it's going to help you assess and determine
are they a resource or not.
What level? What level of need are you going to put forth the effort on? How much you have to protect what people see.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And part of that through the 5 mile radius class and doing your risk assessment and rack and stack and what's a threat to you.
Yeah.
It might be squirrels and deer is your biggest threat because it's eating all your food and
all of your resource.
Yeah.
Or it could be the neighborhood that's right beside you.
Yeah.
I gave Brother B a little tour today. And he was talking about how, we had planted certain things to help hide certain things. And you have to think about that ahead of time. And then it takes a little bit of time for things to grow. But you have to just make a plan. Get your piece of paper out and a pen and start drawing it and make a plan and then slowly implement it. It takes a little effort. Or you can, I was telling him one of the big things we do is we make challenges with our grandkids because they are so competitive. So in the garden, we'll have picking contests so you can pick the biggest cucumber or the most tomatoes. And they love it because they're competing against each other. I love it because I'm getting help picking. We do a lot of physical fitness challenges. I have a little exercise room, or we'll build a little obstacle course in the backyard. And that teaches a lot of things. And it also helps you stay in shape. It teaches you teamwork. We'll do teams. We'll do couples contests. We'll do all kinds of stuff. And you just have to implement it. Don't just sit there and watch TV. Implement it.
We always talk about this, and we were talking about it earlier today. One of the big things that plays such an important role in your preparedness is your faith.
Amen.
And I had the opportunity last Friday. I was over in Waynesville at Carolina Rating Supply, one of our favorite stores, Jan and Bill there, who are awesome. And Stephanie Johnson came over from Yancey County, and she's been one of the figureheads in rebuilding the hollers come hell or high water.
Mm.
And one of the things that really stood out that I was so impressed with is the level of Stephanie and her husband's faith through this whole process of they've had no help. Basically they've had no state or federal help coming in, and still now in that was the end of April, from the end of September to the end of April, and I think she said they still have 300 homes with no running water, and
Wow.
there's still families that can't take showers, and it goes on and on and on. The point was in sidebars talking with her, and whether it's that disaster or things you may be working on, and I can promise you, if you have been through a disaster or you work a future disaster, the psychological impact on you and your family and the people around you, as much as you want to make everything great for them again or for your own family, there is a psychological side of it where your faith is going to be tested. And now, when you're not in that disaster recovery or prep mode of an actual event occurring, it's part of that day-to-day building your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be right with the good Lord to begin with, and that's one of the biggest things people don't think about. Your relationship with Him needs to be first and foremost above everything else, and you need to be in constant prayer with Him. Even if it's not a humongous disaster like Helene, we all have challenges, and it impacts us all differently. Just like my health, challenges this year, and the health challenges with family members. By leaning on the good Lord, it has really helped us, and He has helped us. The last few weeks, just like talking about the preparedness shows, there was a particular one that we were really considering going to, but something just wasn't right. Something just didn't feel right. And I didn't buy the tickets. I didn't do the hotel. I didn't get a rental car. I didn't do anything. Something just kept telling me in the back of my mind, no, not yet. I even called Brother B here and talked to him about it. And I was just like, not yet. And we were like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. Me and Miss Otis, we're just going to go out of town, because we'd already taken the time off from work, so we had to do that way ahead of time. We're just going to go on a little trip, just the two of us, and just go relax. And we were looking for places. Something just kept telling me, no, not yet. Well, this past week, her uncle died. And we were like, oh man, and bless her heart, her mother's not taking it very well. So we wanted to be here for her. And then a whole bunch of her out of town family called. And so we're going to be entertaining 8, people from out of town this weekend. And that was the good Lord preventing us from being away so that we could do that. And if you'll just listen, He'll help you so much. It really was a sign.
We heard a sermon last Sunday along these lines about listening. So many people, especially young Christians, and sometimes even more seasoned Christians, when a disaster occurs or they lose a very close loved one, you'll often hear the comment, well, why did the Lord let this happen? Why did the Lord take this person from me?
He has a plan.
When, and it's not a criticism, but, pain and grief is real. You understand. And at some point we all go through it, maybe multiple times, right? But we learn all these things up front, right?
Yeah.
We're out here for a plan.
We are, and he teaches us so much through that, and he strengthens our faith so much through these challenges. And as you become a more seasoned Christian, and that's not even the word I want to say, but
I'm with you.
You'll see more of it, and and one day you'll be sitting there, and it'll just click. Oh, that's what that was about, or that's what that meant, or that's what. And one of my favorite Bible verses, Psalms 46, be still and know that I am God. And if you will just talk to him and listen, you'll know. He'll show you.
And the thing is, if people even, I kind of went through this when my dad passed away 2 years ago. The comfort in knowing, most of my life, I prayed that my dad would at some point find faith. Mm-hmm. He didn't have it for many years. And then when he did, it was a comfort in seeing him grow.
Because you know where he's going.
Reading through the Bible. And so when you sit and you watch a person pass away, it hurts. There's no more, how you doing? There's no more visits. Those are selfish things. Mm-hmm. Even in the back of our mind, when we know the person's in a better place now, they have no more suffering, there's no more pain, right? Well, you've studied and you've learned this for months and years.
Well, just think about John 14, the rich man and the poor man. The rich man was in hell, and he was begging that someone would go tell his family so that they wouldn't end up in the same place. And I'm pretty sure it was Moses he was talking to in the afterlife, and he said, no, that we can't do that. They wouldn't listen when they were alive. What makes you think they'll listen now?
Yeah. And
he was just begging for a drip of water to cool his tongue. That's how hot hell was, or still is. And you have to think about those things and rely on those things. And I don't want to go there. I don't want my family to go there. The separation from God is hell. When my brother passed, relying on knowing that got me through all of it.
Yeah. And it is a comfort.
Yep, no doubt.
It's a picker-upper, and it's an assurance, Yep. It's, when you lost your brother, it was a sudden thing. It was no warning. There was no.
Killed in a car wreck.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Where with my dad, he was elderly. He had cancer twice, and he had all kind of things working against him. But the Lord afforded me the opportunity to make it home from Alabama at the time to be with him
before he actually passed. So you got to spend that quality time.
Worldly physicians of this world, I don't know their faith, but continually told us he would not make it through the day, and he made it several days. Everything they told us that we would witness didn't happen, right? But I did get to spend a day or two with him in the hospital before he passed. And I don't want this to sound morbid, but I was with him holding his hand when he died, and I'll tell you, it was a beautiful thing. It was.
I was with my father when his mother passed, and she was going through a lot. She was having a hard time. 94 years old, I think. 94, 96, and I was glad that I could be there to support him while he was supporting her.
Yeah. And I knew it's what he wanted.
Yeah.
Why be selfish for anyone? Why be selfish? Why be selfish and want the person to continue to be here
when they're going through that much?
You know
where they're going.
Their life's right? And I want to be selfish, and I want you to hang out 6 more months because either
Because I can't turn you loose. I would rather you be in the pain instead of go on to heaven.
Or I haven't, maybe there's something on my mind I need to say, and I haven't said it yet.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we often say, you know, three of the most important steps in preparedness is your spiritual, physical, and psychological health and conditioning, and knowing who you are. And if part of that is knowing how healthy you are spiritually and psychologically and physical, but making things right with those around you.
Yeah. Don't hesitate.
You don't want to get into a real world event that's stressful and have someone around you who there's something underlying that was never resolved, and someone starts gunny sacking you and throwing this out, and now you've got team camaraderie breakdown.
Have all that worked out ahead of time.
It's gonna bite someone in the hiney, and it's not.
And even if it's not a huge event, go on and get that stuff, taken care of now. Get all your regrets done and over with. Get everything worked out.
It's. I'm glad we had this conversation. We've talked on it some, and Festus and I. Festus has some physical limitations at the moment. Mrs. Festus had an accident, and she's got some limitations. And I know there's a lot of HFS folks who are out there and it just kind of, Brother Bennett a few years ago talked to me about it and about
COVID was rough on him.
That we're all aging. Well, things were moving so fast. I still had a full-time job, but until probably the last 6 months, when my health changed, it kind of hit me that all these people that are in our Hope for Survival family that we consider to be family, they've all aged 6 years, just like myself.
Yeah,
right?
Since when we started.
And it's like, some of them joke about it, but there's others that I'm seeing. I'm seeing how aging has impacted their health, which has impacted their ability to just function day to day in life.
It does.
Now's the time to give it. Now's the time to give it thought. If there's things you need to adjust or work on fix in any of these areas.
We're working on our physical conditioning, our health, and my organization. That's a big challenge for me. I have 27 fires going at the same time, and I need to calm it down and just get 2 going at once and get things completed. I get way too many projects going at once, and I have chaos. So I need to focus more and get everything just, 2 at a time, and get them completed, get them done.
Mrs. Otis, you heard that. He admitted it.
I admit it.
It's easy to sneak up on you.
It is.
And then when you have a health or physical
you have a health issue and a job,
you're slowed down.
The job keeps getting in the way.
You're looking around and you're seeing all this stuff, and it's like,
I need to work on that, but I gotta go to work this week, and I gotta go work overtime so I can pay the bills. Stinking bills.
Yeah, so you can buy more stuff.
Yeah.
So you can add more to what's not organized.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I may go to a flea market this weekend. Who knows?
What is that? What is the accomplishment through chaos, or there was a famous something about?
There's a saying.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna let you go. We've tied you up. We could probably spend a couple more hours here.
Easily.
But we just wanted to share some of these thoughts that we think are important and give you some things to chew on and
hope that we can benefit you somehow.
Yeah.
I used to go do a few shows like Brother B does, and the first one I ever did, I was there for 12 hours talking. I lost my voice, I was exhausted, and I vowed I'd never do it again. Well, it was at a local church, and it wasn't the next week another church called and had heard about it and wanted me to go. And my dad said, you have to. If you can save one life, you got to go. So if this helps anybody at all, and if you got any questions, anything, put it in the comments. We'll try our best to help. We don't know it all, but we know one or two things.
I have a closing question based on what he just said. I totally agree that if you go do it, and if you can save one life, it's worth it.
Exactly.
So my question to you and to you, at this point in time, how can you not know that something's not right? The world has changed. America has changed. And you really need to be responsible and step up and build a self-reliant insurance policy for you and your family. How can you not know?
So you gotta.
That's where I struggle.
Just look at the world around us today, and you got to know that you got to have some kind of plan, and you got to implement something. Whether it's start off with a 1 week, a 30-day, a 3 month, something. You got to do something.
Personally, I've probably told you this. I really struggle with this one, because I have, over the last 10 years, I've heard about every excuse in the book as to why they will sit and spend an hour telling me everything that's wrong with the world, with the government, with everything, and you say, well, what are you doing about it? And
I don't have time.
It's nothing.
But I got an hour to sit here and complain.
Yeah. If you've got time to invest in watching all this stuff
Unfold in front of you,
then don't tell me you don't have time to prepare or you don't have the resources to prepare. If you have the mind and the will to do it, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
Don't be too proud to buy from the dollar store.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Been here, done that, still do it.
Dollar General right down the house. I go there. I love yard sales and flea markets. I'm telling you, you can pick up some good stuff.
And you'll have fun doing it. You will meet some of the most awesome people out there.
I mean, that is a nice flashlight. I got 3 of them with batteries and chargers. $20.
How many flashlights you got then?
I have no earthly idea. I have totes of flashlights.
200?
Easily.
300?
Probably. But that's also because I hate turning the lights on. Ask my wife, she'll tell you, I will have every light off in the house and I'll use a flashlight or I'll just use my night vision. I hate lights.
I never could figure out on Zoom
why I was in the
this
dark.
guy would be logged on and it would be pitch dark on the camera and there would be like
he thought the camera didn't work.
There'd be like a flashlight under his chin, but it was the light coming off of his phone or a computer.
Because the house was dark.
The house was dark. He doesn't burn lights. Actually, I had to drop $100 to get him to turn this light on.
Yeah, just the one so we can make the video.
To rent the Davis
and then
studio.
I opened the window a little bit. Normally I keep it closed, that way nobody can see in,
Upside.
Yep, operational security. I don't want them seeing what's in here.
Yeah. So, anyway, brothers always.
Yes, enjoyed it,
man.
Hope we helped somebody with something.
Yeah. Keep the faith. Don't forget
God first.
Faith first, and give thanks.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't complain. God knows everything that's going on in your heart and your life.
Constant prayer.
So take that time you have to give thanks for the air you breathe, for waking up today, for clean water, for having a roof over your head, for food to eat, for your family, for your church, for your friends, for your health. It goes on and on. Just give thanks for the things.
Give thanks and ask for guidance.
Yep. All right. Till next time. I don't know where I'll be next.
There's no telling with this guy.
I'm actually having lunch with an HFS brother tomorrow at some point on my journey out of Georgia, whenever I'm getting out. I don't even know what day it is.
It's Wednesday.
But Brother Wynn, another great individual.
Yep.
But So anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in and for putting up with us. Bravo Echo out.
Peace out.
Peace out. Thank you for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. If you are new to Hope for Survival, you can check out our books at our webpage. Book 1, which is Hope for Survival, Getting You Prepared for Disasters, and Book 2, Hope for Survival, The Mindset, are both available for order on the website. We also offer the Hope for Survival football stick, which is a memory stick set up as a digital filing cabinet with files already loaded on there for you to digitally copy items such as deeds, auto transcript for ownership, wills, living wills, loans, banking information, items that if your home burned down or you had some form of a disaster, you could have all your important papers already digitally filed on this stick. All you do is simply drag the digital file into the appropriate preset folder so that you'll have it in the event of a disaster. You have to flee your home in a hurry, or also if you're away from home and you need critical information that's personal. If you have your memory stick with you, you can put it in your computer and pull that information up wherever you may be. Again, you can find these items to order at our website, https www.hopeforsurvival.com, or you can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com, and I will try to help you out. Again, thanks for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. Hope to see you again.